Welcome back to New Realities. I am very excited about this program because it's someone I've been wanting to get on the show for a long time. The filmmaker and director and producer of Soul Redemption, Richard Burns, and I happen to be in this movie, so I want everyone to see it. Richard, thanks for coming on the show, and let's just show the poster for Soul Redemption.
Okay, hold on one second, Alan. I gotta share this.
Okay, there it is. This is a film that Richard created with the star Val Taghini, and I have a part in there. You want to talk about, I think this film is special because there's healing energies encoded in it, but tell me about the process of creating this film.
Okay.
And how people can see it, of course, but yeah, start with, yeah.
Do I need to stop sharing or
Oh, you can talk over this and we hear you. So first, how do people find the film?
Well, the URL is movies.intheflow.film.
Okay, I'll put that in the chat. And talk about why you really think this is a different type of film.
Well, it's a little bit of a story, so I'll tell you the story of how it all got going and how you got involved with it. I had cancer in 2010, and I was brought to an energy healer, and it helped. He helped. His name is Randy Opitz. He helped to get rid of my tumors. So I decided, after I recovered from all of that, that I would go on this journey of discovering why healing energy helped me using the lens of my camera. And along the way, I had met Val Taghini, who's a good friend of yours, and we began working on the story 10 pages at a time. We decided to develop the film organically. And after we would write the 10 pages, we'd shoot it, edit it, and then we would have a screening and also a healing during that screening. And in one of those events, healing screening events, it was with mostly healers, and they were not commenting on the plot or the story or anything. They just started commenting on the energy that they were feeling in the film and how it had healed their root chakra, one person mentioned. And that really surprised me because I had no idea that healing energy could come through the film like that, through your TV set. So the next day, I talked to Val and I said, I think what we need to do is every single scene that we have, I want to intentionally embed healing energy into it. And I really want this film to be an entertaining drama. It's a romantic, multi-dimensional, romantic, emotional love story. But I wanted it to have healing energy embedded into it so that when you watched it and you were being entertained, you were also getting this energy that would heal you. So this film really is a film that heals you while you watch. And that's how it all started. And then, of course, Val introduced me to you, and you came on. You had some great ideas for some scenes and the rest.
All right. Yes, you stop screen sharing because let's talk a little bit. And thank you. No, it's a great film. I know you worked really hard putting it together, and it was in some film festivals. It won some awards. I really enjoyed being in the film to share my background, what I've been studying, in this kind of alternative field. So it was exciting for me. And what's the URL again? Movie?
Yeah, it's going to change, but right now it's movies.intheflow.
Okay.
.film.
That's what I thought it was. Movies.
Yeah, eventually it's just going to be intheflow.film.
So it's HTTP, right?
Yes.
/movies.intheflow.film.
Yes, and that actually takes, I have to tell you where that's going. That goes to intheflow.film is a streaming platform for spiritual content.
All right. Can you put it in the chat because it's not, when I'm putting it in the text, it's not coming up. So say that last part again. That goes
intheflow.films, movies in the flow.films is actually a Netflix-like platform that we built, and it's only going to be for healing films, or spiritual films, I should say. Hold on, let me type this in. And we have a lot of other content up there already now.
And if there's probably other filmmakers or people wanting to contribute, is that something other people can do?
Yeah, so what we did, we have, I'll explain. So we started out with Soul Redemption, which is the film that we released to the festival. Is about an hour and 40 minutes long. But as you know, the film is in chapters, and there were 3 other chapters, which really brought it up to be closer to 3 hours long. So all of that is up there in chapters. I then have been doing for the last 2 months an interview series with healers called Awakenings. And those are 10-minute interviews. And these healers tell their story of how they had their awakenings. They're actually quite fascinating. And that has led to them becoming sort of a member of this spiritual platform. And we have a whole lot of other content. They want to do a show called Vibrations. We want to make an iPhone app for healing, healing little 5-10 minute healings, distant healings. So there's a whole lot of ideas. I think it's going to expand, but I'm dedicated to continuing to do this for the next 20 years of my life. So,
so you're interviewing a lot of healers on all sorts of healing modalities, huh?
Yeah. So I definitely am. The stories that I'm listening to, for me, is inspiration for writing another feature. That's why I'm doing that. But it also, I'm finding that people are really liking these stories as well, even though they're more interview documentary style and not dramatic things that what Soul Redemption is. But I love it. I love talking to these healers. I mean, for me, it's so interesting. Because I don't know this world that you guys live in.
Well, you're knowing it now. Tell me one healer you talked to that really blew you away. I mean, the guy who healed you was pretty amazing, but who else have you talked to?
Well, I interviewed 20 different ones. There was definitely this healer, Simone. I think her last name is Bullet. Anyway, it's up on the site. And she was is from Kentucky. And she, the story was just unbelievable. I mean, she was so cheerful and bright and happy, but the story she told me about her childhood and being abused by her uncle at 4 years old, and and then just kind of masking that pain with abusing herself for years. And then all of a sudden she woke up and said, this is not who I'm going to be. I'm a healer. I feel the energy. I'm getting rid of this sort of extreme behavior that I've been involved in. And I'm going to help other people that have been, through these problems of, sexual abuse and alcoholism and, all this stuff. And I had to stop her at one point. I said, Simona, you can't talk about something that's this extreme without a little bit of emotion. So we had to do another take on it. I said, because she was too happy. Oh, I was abused by my
I think
uncle.
it's great. She's transmitting happiness. I mean,
yes, well, that's where she is today. But I was like, it would be better if you kind of went back to where it was and then we got a really great interview from her once she started doing that. So that one was one of the first ones I did. But there's so many. The stories are, there's another man, Brendan, who was a cop in Oakland, California, very kind of extreme neighborhoods where you are. And he retired and he became a healer. And the interesting thing was he did Reiki, went to the school. He's really into it. He wrote a book about his dog passing. And that's what inspired him to do this. He wanted to know where his dog went. And as he started researching, he got more and more into the universal energy and figured out the dog was still around him. But the thing that we kind of discovered in the interview with Brendan was that he is all about helping people. So when he would go into 90% of the calls that he would get when he was a police officer, he was there really just to help people. And he wanted to let people know, I'm not really here to arrest you or be a bad guy. I'm here to try to help what's going on with you. And so then he retired. And I said, well, Brendan, you're doing that again. he said, you're right. I'm, that's just who I am. I want to help people. So different stories like that.
We need those types of people in this world to
Yeah, I want to get more and more of these stories and put them up and just make it it's really a platform for healers, because I think that other healers that are listening to their stories, even if they haven't reached this point where they're having an awakening, most of them tell me stories about how when they're growing up, they're very confused because, they could be little kids and all of a sudden they're listening to the trees talk to themselves and they just think that they're weird, or that they're seeing dead people, all sorts of different things when they're growing up. And they feel like that they're disenfranchised, to say, in high school with all their other friends. So, they start drinking or they start trying to mask it, but eventually it comes back to them recognizing who they are, who their true self is, and, announcing to their friends and family, I'm a healer, I'm doing this, and I'm tired of trying to hide it. So it's really interesting. So it really is a site for healers and people to come and learn.
I think it's great. And you kind of got into it through the back end there, through doing the film and of course your own work. And now you've taken, because you've been in film for a long time. So, and the film itself, I think, is worth seeing. I know you put a lot of time, effort. You created quite a mosaic of possibilities, and Val is a great leading star, and you got some good actors. Why don't we show a little clip of the film?
Sure.
And you can show
Let me
the
just,
part
I'll
I'm
tee
in.
it up. I'll tee it up a little bit.
Okay, tee it up.
so
And this is a film, and people can see the film, movies.intheflow.film. You could see the whole film. People have to pay online for it. Is that it?
Yeah, you can become a yearly subscriber and get all of the content for around $17, not a month, for the entire year.
Right.
And then the film itself, which is in the 3-hour version right now, I'm probably going to repackage it a little bit as I get more feedback from people.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that is, but you can watch that on a pay-per-view basis as well. So this scene is in chapter 3 that you're in. And the story is this multi-dimensional romantic drama where we have the star of it, played by Declan, is Josh Murphy, and he is channeling his script that he's been writing. He's a writer, and as he's channeling it, he is talking to this probably woman he had a past life experience with, who is Kiara. So this scene is where Kiara is in her world and he's imagining this, and she goes in to meet with Johnny, her best friend, mentor, which is you. And and Raphael, who's a spiritual healer, and she had gone to Raphael to get an energy healing to see if it would help her, because you recommended she do. Anyway, and so now this is the discovery, the meeting of the three of you talking about her healing with.
But you know what's so good about this scene in particular? It shows the multidimensionality. I think film is a great medium to show many, many levels of consciousness and ways reality intersect. And I think you do it really well, actually better than probably any film I've seen, this intersection of what reality are you in? And it's like parallel worlds are reflecting each other, but also happening at the same time. And it's all about this woman, Chiara, who's waking up.
Right.
She's waking up.
I mean, well, honestly, though, the creativity of that film, it was really a group effort between you and Val and, everybody. We really worked hard to try and make it as authentic as we could. And so, but let's run it and people can watch it. And
you did a great job. Actually, it's very personal reflection of your own life as well. So, yeah.
I mean, well, it took 4 years to do it.
All right.
If it wasn't for COVID, I never would have had the time to edit it. So that's what I did during lockdown, is finishing it. All right. So let me do the screen share here.
Yes, do the screen share. We're going to watch a little clip of
about 2 minutes, I think. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's hope
That's
this
the
works.
person. Here we go.
Here we
Yeah.
go. There's Kiara. She's
Okay. Okay. Did you?
Okay, we're here gathered to find out what's really going on with you, Kiara. Let's start by tuning in and dropping in. We're doing a little Om, okay? Ready? Does that drop you into a frequency?
I don't know.
What did you feel yesterday when Raphael did his special sound?
Well, I felt the bold vibrations. The chanting was beautiful.
No, we're not talking about beautiful. What did you feel in your body?
I don't know, Johnny. Ask him.
Hocha hata holy hapa hocha.
Marak Shendama Kirahacha Hacha Ushadesha Radeka Raeka.
He says you're so full of energy, but it's all stuck. It's all blocked. It's all cut off in you. Do you know what I'm talking? No. Hita hola hapa hitatata.
Amida Ipatuma Patuma Edita Ekumna.
Do you feel that? He's awake. He's talking to your energy field. That something happened to you when you were younger. Something that blocked the energy and cut you off.
What?
Hoti hapa?
Hotihapa.
When you were very young. Do you know what he means?
No. What language are you guys speaking?
The Yambakan.
This is light language. It's a language of frequency. He says the block was in your sacral chakra, in the sacrum. You know what that means? Sacrum? Ho hacha hoti huma hete.
Hoshihata Hamado Kabadamundananda.
Oh. Something happened to you. Something serious happened to you. Something awful happened to you.
What?
Something that's been buried in your body since hati ho, about 10 or 11. Right?
I don't know, Johnny. You know what? Maybe this is not for me.
Okay. Something happened to you, and when you're ready for it, you'll know.
I don't think I'm ready.
It might not be, but when you're ready, you'll come back.
All right. Thank you.
that's it.
Well, that's a serious scene, actually. And
Well,
you know,
I'd love
I
to
don't think
talk about how he made that scene because it's one of my favorite scenes.
it looks really good. You know, it's so weird. I'm sitting in the same room that scene took place, and it's like that's a parallel reality right there. But I don't think
Let
light
me tell
language.
this. Let me tell
Oh,
this.
go ahead, tell the story. I'm just saying, I don't think
So
light
all
language.
I let you guys, I just wrote out the essence of why she was there to get help. You know, I didn't obviously write that dialogue. You guys came up with that, totally improv'd it. And as I was shooting it, I almost wanted to start laughing because you kept doing it, you know, over and over again, like perfectly. It was very easy to cut, but you know, and I even asked afterwards, I'm like, what was that? What language was that? Because I thought it was real for a while. I had no idea what you were talking about. But so we just left it that way to put subtitles or anything. You didn't need it. It just was
It's
very, very
great.
clever.
Well, you know, I don't think light language has actually been incorporated into a plot of a movie before, which I thought was kind of very unique for that film and very kind of cutting edge. So I'm glad you left it as that, because, you know, when you're in this world and you're talking to healers, it is all about vibration. And vibration is so many different things where you have to develop an awareness of what vibrational frequency is and what it means and how we feel
Right.
it. So I think your whole film leads people on that journey of discovery, because
Yeah.
we're realizing it's not the words, it's the feeling. It's not the particle, it's the wave. It's not the, we're redefining the nature of reality. And I think your film attempts to do this within the context of a story. So
Also was organic.
Yeah.
We didn't sit down and write a 100-page screenplay. We
Yeah.
wrote 10 pages, and then we would show it, and then people would watch it and they would say, "Oh, what's the next scene?" And I would say, "I don't know. What do you think the next scene is?" We had a roadmap. We knew we were going from New York to California. We just didn't know which routes we were going to take along the way.
Right.
And so that scene is a great example of where we just said, okay, we want to do a scene now. Chiara had this healing with Raphael. Let's go back into Johnny's apartment and they'll talk about it. And then we just sort of ad-libbed that as to what happened. We knew that she had this deep, I told you, I think, we want to talk about this childhood trauma that she had, et cetera, et cetera. And so all of that sort of came out and is later resolved in the movie. But it was really a fun way to make a film.
It really was a lot of fun to be part of that process and improvise and stick with the plot outline, but then bring in the details, and it looked great. That's a beautiful, I know you put a lot of high quality film production into it. So
and the soundtrack also, I went around, I found 7 different composers from around the world. And when I was on one of these freelance sites for composers, and the only thing I said is you needed to know how to do a score, and you needed to know how to work with healing frequencies, because that had to be in their score throughout, and that it was a healing film. But I really needed them. And so every single chapter has a unique score from a different composer. And they're there, and I would tell them, okay, this chapter is more, root chakra. The next one's sacrum, whatever it was. I say you got to work with those energies so that people are feeling that part of it. And then, of course, when we would have Val, who's a healer, and she's sort of transmitting her energy, or Raphael, when he would do a healing, you get that healing energy is much more up front and it's there. But the soundtrack, is in the background. But I tell you one other thing. This whole started for me years ago. I did a podcast called Culture Catch in like from 2004 to 2010. And we had interviewed my partner and I. He was the host and I was like the behind the scenes guy. So it's Dusty Wright. And he had a connection with David Lynch. So we interviewed him. And I sat down after the interview and had, David likes to smoke a lot of it. And I just talked to him a little bit about filmmaking. And he really believed that film is a living, breathing art form. And that what your energy you bring to it on day one, it can be totally different on day, 500, like 4 or 5 years later. And your interpretation of the film that you watch, it can be totally different. And so I really wanted to keep this film like that. Like if you watch it today, you might interpret something totally different. I wanted people to walk away kind of, it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle the way that we did it. And I wanted people to say, well, let them try to afterwards use their own interpretation, their own art, their own creativity to come up with the conclusions that we kind of put out there as to what was going on.
Well, I think it's a great way to do a film. I think it's a new style of filmmaking, and people have had some transformation watching the film. Have you seen that when they come? Yeah, talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So actually, just through this awakening series that we're doing, I met with the interview to heal, and she wanted to watch the film. So she went in and she subscribed and watched it. And then she wrote me back and she said, "Richard, I only could get through the first 3 chapters right now because the energy was too powerful for me. I had to go and take a nap." So again, this is I'm the first one to say, I don't feel that kind of energy from people, but people that are really receptive to it, So that was one example, I think, of how powerful the energy is in the film.
I just want to say it's a narrative, but you broke the film up into what you're calling chapters, and there's different chapter titles, and each kind of segment expresses a different sort of energetic kind of connection. There's a different energy to each chapter. So there's a different mood, and it's sort of like tracking a kind of narrative of your own moods when you watch the movie, which I think is another whole way of filmmaking. So you're really at the cutting edge of a kind of new paradigm of directing and filmmaking. So
well, we tried to tie the chapters, each chapter, into what would be going on in the universe, with the stars and the planets, etc., and how that affects our lives. That was just another little element of it. So each chapter heading, is I got like NASA footage or something, or we made footage out of special effects, and we call it like Neptune retrograde, all these different names that, I researched on the internet trying to figure out what would align with the story in that chapter. And listen, there are challenges when you make a movie organically, because over 4 years, because one scene could be in the winter and the next scene that you want to use is in the summer. So it's a little bit of a continuity issue there. So we had to go to chapters and be like, hey, we just, now it's very nonlinear, and it made more sense that way.
It did make more sense being nonlinear, and that's kind of ironic, but no, I'm happy. Let's do another one, Richard.
I want to. Well, honestly, a lot of people that have watched it, they're all saying, you could just continue to do more chapters.
And that's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah. So it could be with different characters. It's just in the realm of soul redemption. We could write it so it ties into it. Either they're, they've seen the film now and they're into a different world, and they're sort of being affected by the movie, sort of the aftermath of whatever it is. We can figure it out. We could do it.
Well, what I think is so good is that, like I said, there's a multi-dimensional quality to the story that you wrote itself, where there's the writer of the script who's playing you, and then there's the actors who's in the imagination of the writer, and they come to life, and then he interacts with his manifestation, with his otherworldly creation, actually comes into his world. So you get this overlapping of reality. And how was that for you? Because then suddenly I think your world of imagination is coming to life as the writer, and someone who's writing about a writer with his manifestation coming to life. So was that weird for you?
Well, yeah, because here's I'll explain it this way. So when as you might recall, when we first cut it, I did not have that whole story of the writer.
That's right. And it didn't make sense. It was right. Like a kind of flat film. It was flat.
Right. It was the struggles of doing it organically like this. And I had sort of a script doctor friend of mine watch it. And he said, well, you're not in it, Richard. Why don't you figure out a way to get yourself in it? Now, I was saying all along to you and Val and everybody I was working with, it, I was actually channeling this film, the story, at night, because I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'd know exactly what the next 10 pages would be. It would come to me, and I'd get up and I'd write it. So right away I was like, well, that's it. I'll just do this story about a writer director who's channeling this story, and so it grew from there. And that became the thread that everybody can follow, and became. And then I hired Candace, and she's very good, and Josh, right. He's very good, so, and they really are the glue to keeping that story together.
Right. There's a story that the other story was framed inside of, and then there's this interplay between the two stories. And maybe you should be in the next part talking about, like actually in the next movie, talking about, well, it's your film, talking about the manifestation of the film as part of the film, another level. And
I think that's interesting, because then it kind of breaks the fourth wall.
Yes.
But, now we're in another dimension. It's like me saying, well, I was channeling this other dimension, whatever, about, and then I write it, and now I'm taking it into the film, and I'm out of this dimension talking about the film. And then of course we could fictionalize that whole thing, and it could go in a whole nother direction. It would be really fun.
And of course, we're in a film anyway. We're actors in this drama, which
Right.
Shakespeare would have said. So
I think it's going to be like you just said about vibrations, because I just had, that's the second time that idea came up this week. So I think it's something that's really knocking on my head right now. It's because I've been doing awakenings now for a couple of months, and I just asked one of the healers after I finished the interview, I go, what would you do? She goes, I think you should do a 10-minute series interviewing people about vibrations and telling them, the different aspects of it, because that's what it's all about.
yeah.
And I don't even know really what that means. So I'm like, well, that's perfect. I'd love it. So we're going to probably, I am looking for those ideas. If people want to join in and contact me, I don't mind. I'll give you my email. And we could do some, anything. I want to just use this platform and make it be the best spiritual platform on the planet over the next 10 years. And I think I'll just need a lot of people help, becoming members and contributing.
Actually, I should get you on Soul Search, because there's a lot of people who I think would enjoy this film. Maybe we do a Soul Search premiere, which is another online spiritual platform.
And I was just going to mention, that's the second thing I want to tell everybody. I am looking for places to do screenings. I don't care if it's 10 people or 10,000 people. I want to have the live experience, because as you know, we finished this during COVID. All of those festivals that we were in and won awards were all online. And I had a film a long time ago that I was a producer on. It was at Sundance and Hamptons, and it was really fun to rub elbows with everybody. People tell you,
Yeah.
I mean, they're always going to tell you it's great when you're standing right there.
Well, let's do. What's your email? Because I'll put this in the chat too, that people can.
Sure. Richard.intheflow@gmail.com.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll put it.
Richard.
Don't get 5 million emails. But that's all right.
Okay, Richard.
I'm doing.
Let me just find the chat and put this in. And okay, it's Richard, because I'm talking to Richard Burns. In the flow
At Gmail.
Gmail. Because In the Flow is actually the original name of the movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then I can't remember why we decided to change it, but we did. And then I decided, I do own the URL in the flow.film. So I thought, I'll use that as I haven't really found a lot of distributors the distribution business right now for independent films, even with stars, has kind of been capsized by these streaming sites, these mega streaming sites like, Amazon and Netflix.
Wow.
So it's really been difficult to try and find somebody who wants to distribute something really niche.
Well, would you sell it to
my own audience?
But would you sell it to Netflix if they wanted it? Would you be interested in that?
Maybe, yeah. I wouldn't say no. It would reach so many people that way. I think that it might be easier for me to, recoup some of the money that I spent on it by building my own streaming platform and reaching I know that Gaia has, a big platform. I think
maybe Gaia would buy it. Yeah, maybe.
Might, but they have 800,000 subscribers. So to me, if I could get 10% of that on this, we would have a niche version of Gaia and just focusing on the healing, where they're doing yoga and other things. A very good site, but it would be a good place for it. But it's just really difficult to get an audience to really commit to spending any money to watch anything, because people have so many different options right now. But we're going to do it. I'm going to keep staying on it. Like I said, I'll keep doing this for the next, I'm 63. I'll do it till I'm 93. And
all right. Well, we'll be watching.
I'll do it from another dimension after that.
Well, yeah, this has sort of become your life. Dedicated to healing, and it just started with your own journey. And
yeah.
And
I've been around the world. I've had so many other stories now to tell. Doing the healing energy with my wife.
And of course, your wife has a dramatic story too of being
That would definitely be in the next film. I mean, that,
All
that
right,
was,
great, because that's a great story where she really didn't believe any of this, and suddenly she's like passing out on the floor with and
she saw her mother who just passed away, all of her I mean, just went on and on.
it's a Kundalini awakening, like that was originally Val's kind of awakening that we tried to capture in the beginning kind of process of that film, was the story of this woman who Kundalini awakens and
Yeah.
the reality changes, but then it became this
Yeah.
other thing.
There's more to that story to
Yeah,
to tell. I mean, now she's had another baby, and who knows
right.
if she's still gonna have the time to do it. But
No, I think she would. I think we can even put the baby in. I mean, why not make it like a real, make it more true to life and make it, because it's all very dramatic in a good way.
yeah, I agree. Well, it's really fun working with you on it, and we've become good friends through this, and
Yeah.
that's been the best part as well. So
Well, we'll do more. No, I'm really interested in doing another segment, didn't I get an acting award for that?
you did. I got to send that to you. I just got it the other day.
Yeah.
You did get a best
Not
acting
like an
award.
Academy Award, though, was it? It wasn't just an acting
No,
award.
no, it's like an audience appreciation acting award. They really liked you. I
All
forgot
right, I'll accept the award. Yes, thank you, Richard. No, I'm happy to accept it. So let me know. Let's be in touch. And again, I think people should see this movie, Soul Redemption, and also watch the clips about healers, because I'm really happy you're on New Realities, because that's also what this channel's about.
Yeah, and the platform is, and they have the link to that. So that, I think that's, the thing that where all of this content is going to end up, that we create. I want to get more content. If people want to contact me and put their own content that's done there, we'll figure out some sort of rev share for that. I'm really just about wanting to get this niche of content about healing, movies for healers. I think that that's a really good niche to have. I mean, that's what I'm feeling, it's what I guess my spirit guides are telling me, that this is the direction to take this, that it's needed in the world today. A lot of people are saying that the world is becoming more awakened every day.
We'll
So
see. Yeah, I guess so. No, I think it's great, and I definitely recommend people seeing this. And let's do a screening in New York. I have a friend who has a big loft downtown. We could do a little screening of the film, because has there been a New York premiere?
no, I mean,
All right.
we did it out in Long Island, as you
Yeah,
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was fun.
that was nice. We had that pre-healing before.
Oh yeah, that was great at those people's houses. Yes.
Well,
yes.
I'll tell you just a quick story.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah.
There was like 70 people at that screening. Most of them were people that I knew from out in Long Island. And, it was during COVID, so everyone had to wear a mask. But the woman that wanted to come in and do the healing said, it would be really great if we could give people eye masks to get their energy in a place to watch this film. And then we had Raphael come in while they had the eye masks on, do one of his singing bowl things for about 10 minutes. And so I'm walking around and I see 70 people wearing eye masks and masks. And I'm taking pictures and I'm sending to my friends. I'm like, I kidnapped 70 people.
Right.
It looks so funny.
It was great. I actually had that eye mask for a long time. Actually, let's do that. I know someone who does crystal bowl gongs, and it would be fun. And I could be there. We could do a little panel after.
Yeah.
Let's talk. When are you coming back? Oh, we'll talk after
I'd come back tomorrow for something like that.
Well, it'll take a little while to plan.
Yeah, no, I know. We can definitely fit it in. And if people want to do it in other parts of the country, I could potentially come, but I could be there virtually. And I'm willing.
There's a couple of festivals I'm going to. There's a couple of conferences. Let's see if they're open to this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Open to all ideas. I just want to get it out there and people watch it.
And have people have healings, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, Richard. Thanks for being a friend. Thanks for putting me in the movie. And
Yep.
look for it. If people just type Soul Redemption into Google, would they find the film?
I think they might, yeah. And my name. I think, yeah. It's
Richard
definitely
Burns, right.
I haven't
And
tried that yet.
In the Flow, movies.intheflow.film. I
That's
have that
the
in chat.
platform.
That's the
Yeah.
platform. And besides the film, there's a lot there. Actually, you're on the platform too. Do you want me to show this picture of you? Oh, yeah, let me just show that.
I'm just telling people what the platform's about. I just do a little
Oh,
one
that's what
video.
that is. I see.
It's just a welcome video. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, we've already told them what the platform's about, and they
But no,
signed
I mean, actually, the video of the pre-healing at the event in the Hamptons is on there, and our discussion of the film, which was pretty interesting.
That was a good discussion. Yeah, at the museum out there.
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe we'll do another show and show another segment sometime and see how this flows, and we're in the flow, and let me know when we'll connect, and
Yeah.
I'll do some skiing with you guys.
Anytime. Thanks, Alan. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, it was good. I'll send you the link to this, and you can put this up on your website too.
I will. It's going up for sure.
All right. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for the hard work you made on that